What's up? What's up? What's up, my mind your money business folks? It's me yet again with another video on the status of today's stock market because it just closed about 24 minutes ago, and yeah, everything's down. The S&P's down, the Dow's down, the Nasdaq Composite's down. However, the Russell 2000 is up. It gained a little 2%. So it says stocks slid on Wall Street today. But it ended on a 20% gain note. You know, the year ended on a good note, even though today, the last month, wasn't that great. The S&P as a whole brought back over 23%. 23.33% returns for the year to date. From the 1st of freaking January until the 31st of December, 23.3%. Did I say that correctly? Yeah. I still made money. Even though things were down today, I still made money. So let's get into this article and see what they're saying. It says stocks slipped Tuesday, closing 2024 with an uncharacteristic down note after a roaring year of trading. The S&P 500 fell 0.4%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped just below the flat line, while the Nasdaq Heavy Composite led the losses at 0.9%. Yeah. Yeah, that's the market, right? Some days you're good, some days you're bad. So despite the sour final stretch, the benchmark S&P 500 closed 2024 up 23%. See, I just found that information out myself. And it's stating that in the article. The S&P 500 closed at 23%. And it's 23.33% to be exact. According to Yahoo Finance data, right, the NASDAQ gained almost 30%. Almost 30%. That's almost 30% returns on your money. Actually, the NASDAQ is at about it says almost 30, right? 28.71% to be exact. Not bad. 28% return on your money is good. So if you're sitting on the sidelines with money in the bank, afraid to invest it, you missed out on these gains. You missed out. Again, I've said in so many videos, and you will hear other people that invest say, you cannot time the stock market. There's no better time to invest in the stock market than today. That day. The day that you make the decision is the day that you need to invest. Now, if there are those of you out there that waited until, like, say, this month to invest, you may feel a certain type of way. You may feel a little iffy. You may feel as though this was a bad decision. But just know, this is how the market goes. There are ebbs and flows to this thing. There are months and weeks where you're up, then there are months and weeks where you're down. But just understand the stock market was created by the rich to maintain their riches. You just need to make sure that you're investing in good growth stock. Again, if you invest in just the S&P 500, like an ETF or mutual fund, right? On average, over the last 100 years, it's brought back over 10%. That's a safe bet because that ETF is a fund that has been put together with the 500 largest companies. So you're invested into the 500 largest companies in the United States, which is Tesla, which is Microsoft, Amazon, NVIDIA. All those companies are within that one fund. Safe, right? Because if you're not if you're not doing the research on your own on that individual stock or that individual one company, and you put all of your money in that one stock, in that one company, and that company goes down, all of your money goes down as well. S&P 500, not so much. So it says the S&P annual gain roughly matches 2023's performance, logging the highest consecutive back-to-back annual gain in nearly 30 years. And so I remember last year the S&P brought back 20% gains on last year, and so this year I made a lot of money this year. I invested a good amount of money, and I pretty much doubled my money. Yep. Yeah, I doubled it. I think about it. Yeah, I doubled it. That's what happens when you invest. And you invest wisely, you lower your debt to income ratio, or you get out of debt. I got out of debt. I'm not getting back into debt. I budget. I live below my means. And I dollar cost average, meaning I take a certain amount of money from my budget each month and I invest into the stock market. My strategy is 50% of my entire investment budget goes into my S&P 500 ETF, which is SPLG. Then 30% of that total amount goes into my information technology ETF, which is FTEC. Then the remaining 20% I invest in individual stocks like Tesla. But I may not be investing in Tesla because Tesla now is $400 a share. And I'm not doing Tesla anymore. But either way, it was Tesla, Apple, Nvidia, Broadcom, SMCI, Palantir, and it was something else, Serve Robotics. But I'm going to scale back because, again, of course, the more money you have to invest, the more stocks you're able to buy. But when you have a certain amount, or you've given yourself a certain amount, there's only so much you can buy. And I don't want to have a little of a lot, because I've seen the way to make money, you have to have a lot of a good stock. And then when it blows up, because you have a lot, you make more money. But either way, start where you can, do what you can, because that is what I'm doing on my level. And everyone's on different levels, right? All right, so it says the major indexes posted big wins in 2024, a year that was marked by a continued surge in artificial intelligence led by the Magnificent Seven stocks, even as the bull rally broadened across the board. The single biggest winner in the S&P was Palantir, with a nearly 350% gain for the year, people, while the biggest loser was Walgreens Boots Alliance, which gave up 64% of its value. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve made its first interest rate cut in 4 years. The President-elect Donald Trump's impending return to the White House drove stocks higher in the last 2 months. In commodities, gold increased 28% for the year, logging its biggest yearly gain since 2010. And cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin has rallied over 100% this year, though it has pulled back from its $100,000 level. But overall, the good times have stalled in the last week as markets have given up some of the big gains. All the more uncharacteristic considering the typical Santa Claus rally that marks the end of the year. I see the pullback in the stock market are just investors taking gains. There was a lot of money made this year. And you have a lot of investors, major investors, big time investors, not retail investors like myself on a lower level, right? But people who have millions and billions of dollars invested, they took their gains. And still, after they took their gains, which drove the price of the stocks down, the S&P is still up over 20%. The NASDAQ is still up almost 30%. That's still a lot of money for people like me to have made this year, right? And then I have individual stocks like Nvidia. Now, I didn't have Nvidia the whole year, but I think my portfolio has me making about 26% on my Nvidia stock, right? Because of the time, I didn't buy Nvidia until like May, of this year, right before it split in June. But year to date for NVIDIA, year to date returns is 171.17%. That's how big of a return. Let's see, what is Apple? Is Apple in the green? Let's see what the return is on Apple for the year. 30%. Tesla caught me by surprise. Year to date return on Tesla, 62%. 62%. I have been investing in Apple, Tesla throughout the whole year. Broadcom. I didn't buy Broadcom until later. But year-to-date return on Broadcom, 107.70%, people. You're missing out on these returns. You're missing out. Now, Serve Robotics is down. It's down a negative 46%. But I don't have a lot of this stock, and I bought it fairly cheaply. I think I bought it at like $9 a share. So it's not like I have thousands of dollars invested, but Serve Robotics is down. And I bought Serve Robotics because NVIDIA bought shares of this company. They're like a food delivery company in like big cities. So we'll see what happens with that. Oh, VTSAX, which is Vanguard's total stock market fund. Now, VTSAX is bigger than the S&P 500. VTSAX covers the whole entire market. The S&P 500 covers the 500 largest companies. VTSAX covers the 500 largest companies. It covers mid-cap companies. It covers small cap companies, and I believe it also has something called micro stocks within it. It has over 3,000 or 3,500 companies packaged within this one fund. Now, if you're afraid to invest money in individual stocks, even if you are afraid to invest in the S&P 500, invest your money into VTSAX, because VTSAX covers the whole entire market. And then the thing about these mutual funds, these exchange traded funds, they're managed by professionals. You don't have to worry about picking the right stock. These companies and these professionals are managing this fund. If there are companies that are underperforming, they will pull that company out of the fund and replace it with another. But again, you have in VTSAX, you have over 3,000 companies. So let's see what the year-to-date return on VTSAX, 22.58%. VTSAX is as safe as you can get and still have 22%, over 22% returns on your money. If you had $10,000 in that account, you would have made $2,200. And then if some of those companies within the fund pay out dividends, those dividends get distributed amongst the owners of the fund, of the stock. You get those payments, people, and you can have that money reinvested back into the stock to buy more shares or portions of a share. Yeah. So that's it. So I'm going to end this video here. It's a little cloudy, so that means the sun may not come out today. But either way, it's New Year's here. It is January 1st, 2025 on my side of the world. So Happy New Year to everyone. Again, if you made New Year's resolutions, you're going to invest, you're going to eat better, you're going to find a better job, you're going to learn a new trade, you're going to earn more money, great. And I urge you to start thinking this way. Don't wait until a specific time of the year or day or month, on your birthday, on Easter, whatever, to make changes. Just make the change now and stick with it forever. Not like these dietary changes where you're on it for 1 minute and then you're off of it. Try to make changes that you can stick to for the long run. It's not going to be easy, but and you may falter, you may backslide a little bit, and that's okay. That's normal. That's a part of the process because you're trying to retrain your mind and your way of being, and your old self is going to fight these changes. But if it's for the betterment of you and your family, keep pushing for it. All right, so you guys take care. Have a great day. Peace.